Hello and welcome, fellow sovereigns. Having a wee bit of fun today with technology, so I'm just waiting till I know we're absolutely online, and we are. And this has started because I've been having a conversation with a friend who's been sharing a lot of predictions. People, if you like, make up stories about what's going to happen in this new, wonderful, peace-filled, connected, lovely world that we're moving into. And his intention is to reduce the fear. If people can be given hope that there's something else coming along, in his perception, then he's giving people hope and reducing their fear. And that's an absolutely lovely thing to do. It is. It's absolutely lovely. Thank you, Ed. The problem with all of these predictions is that I've seen them 100 times before. It's like everybody's copying from everybody else. I suppose because I'm so old, I've been around for 274 years so far, and it's kind of hard to find something new under the sun, which is not a problem. It's lovely. I love being under the sun. So, I've heard all these Hopi prophecies and the Cathar prophecies and the Maori ones and the Tibetan ones, and people have been trying to unravel Nostradamus, the Brahma Kumaris in India, and they've all basically coming to the same conclusion that we're coming to the end of this sort of bad era of the last 2,000 years. We're now going to be flipping over into something new. And that may well be true. I'm just concerned because we're just regurgitating exactly the same thing, and it's been going on since mid-90s, which, I don't know what's that, nearly 30 years. And probably, I'm sure, it's been going on for hundreds of years, all these predictions, because Nostradamus predicted this back in the somethings, 1500s, I think. I don't know when he was around. And so there's this idea that we're going to be moving out of this terrible place into something nice. However, as a reader of and let's say a practicer of A Course of Miracles, which is a philosophy, a very practical philosophy, what it says is that the world has always been insane. The world is insane. The world will always be insane. That's the nature of this world. And if we look at our history, whether it's Pol Pot, what was he in the 80s, 90s, right now, the savagery that's going on and the injustice that's going on, whether it's the dreadful way that the Romans treated their enemies 2,000 years ago, Henry VIII and his lords, 1500s, what's that, 600 years ago, they could just ride into a village, grab whatever beautiful maidens they liked and any other blokes that they could, put them into slavery. And they did that. And they could just grab somebody's wife and say, look, I'm having you for a week. I'll hand you back when I'm finished with you. Whatever era we're looking at, leaders have been bastards. They have. They really have. And the world hasn't changed. I don't think that our current prime ministers or leaders can actually walk into a village now and take whatever village maidens they like. But they're doing a similar thing in a different way. They're abusing our trust. They're abusing our privacy. They're abusing our sovereignty. But they always have. And I don't know that that's going to change. And I guess it's nice to have some sort of something to look forward to. That it's going to get better tomorrow and the day after and the day after. The difficulty is that if it doesn't get better tomorrow, somewhere along the way these forecasts are going to lose their power. Because I've been hearing them for 30 years now, and I'm slightly cynical. I'm not saying they're not going to happen. They may well do, and if they do, then that for me is a bonus. The only way around it on a long-term basis is to be here, now, in this moment. Because when we stop projecting into the future and bring ourselves back to this moment, here, right here, something happens when we are present, when we're in presence with the God that we are, with our beating heart. And there's something happens, there's a peace that comes to us. And the Course in Miracles would tell us that that is the only way we can find peace, is to be here. And I've heard people explain that what it's like to be in heaven, or what it's like to be in this beautiful new future, or what it's like to have the fullness of love, to experience it, trying to explain that to us right now is like trying to explain what it's like to be a fully grown adult to an unborn child. We cannot explain the beingness, the experience of where we're headed. So any of these predictions are always written in a way that we know of now. They cannot explain what's actually going to happen. They're a guide. It's like we get to a signpost that says London or Brisbane. We don't stop at the signpost and go, oh, now we're in London or now we're in Brisbane. The signpost leads us somewhere else. And if we're looking at the predictions of as what is going to happen, they are a signpost, but they cannot explain what's going to happen. What's going to happen will be somewhere out there. So we know that it cannot be explained to us. But what we do know is what's going on right now, in this moment, in this, well, I'm in a room. You might be by the beach or in the bush or in your car, or you might be somewhere. Wherever it is that you are, be there. Just enjoy this moment of this journey. And I've just been reading a book by Hugh Van Cullen, I think his name is, the Gratitude Project. And so he has three aspects, if you like, to his practice. It's GEM, G-E-M. So there's gratitude, empathy, and M. I forgot what it is. Mindfulness. I'm not very mindful. Gratitude, empathy, and mindfulness. And it's a very practical thing. And what he's encouraging people to do, for example, with gratitude, at the end of the day, you write down 3 things that you're grateful for. The mindfulness. When you're walking around, just notice 3 things. When you're walking along the beach, notice this shell here. Notice that bird. Notice this person in a wheelchair. Notice 3 things. Because most of the time when we're walking around, we're not here. We're, oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? What happened yesterday? Oh, I should have done this. I'll probably need to plan for this. Da, 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 da. There's all that past and future flowing through this brain of ours. But when we bring it together and stop and be in this moment, there is nothing else that happens but peace. Just presence. And we can buy into these predictions that are just so to say this, but they're so worn out. They are all copies of copies of copies of copies. And you know, the Cathars had their predictions back in the, whenever that was, 1,000 years ago. So we've been living in a world of predictions, and I would contend that the main reason that we're living in a world of predictions is that people are fearful of the future. We see things going on. We look at the news. We look at the weather. We do get into the gossip. People come up with all sorts of stories about terrible things that have happened. And then we build on that, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. Well, all of those stories are true. There are terrible things happening. There are going to be terrible things happening. But they don't have to happen to us. See, what we can do is, whether we do it manually, we can change our mind. We can move from a future, a made-up future, and it might be somebody else's regurgitated future, or it might be our own whatever future, and stop the prediction. And just be in this moment where there is nothing to predict. There's just this. There's a stapler. There's a microphone. There's a picture on the wall. There's a giraffe behind me, my favorite animal. There's some hats behind me. There's a window. There's my car. There's the neighbours. In this moment, in this dramaless moment, there is only peace and joy. I can't help chuckling, just because the world is a chuckle. I don't need to know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, I've got plans. We're going to be helping a friend move house. Well, that's a prediction. But I don't need to know, because in this moment is full. When I'm full with this moment, there is nothing else I need outside of me. I don't need to be bringing in other things. It's when I'm empty in this moment that the future then has to fill, because the universe abhors a vacuum. And when I'm empty of this moment, what's going to happen is something else will fill that emptiness, and generally it's fear. So when I fill this moment with just being with it, just accepting it. Oh, look, I've got 5 fingers. Ah! Oh, look, I've got some glasses. What a wonderful thing they invented these glasses, because I couldn't see stuff. How wonderful it is that I've got walls. Protects me from the cold. Isn't it wonderful that I've got hats? Wrong hand. Hats. I don't know. I don't wear. It's weird. I've got all these hats and I don't wear them. Here I am talking to a computer. Isn't it wonderful they invented computers? In this moment, there is gratitude. In this moment, there is just being here. In this moment, I've got a little cow. Ooh, it's a timer. It's just such a funny little thing. Thank you, Narelle. In this moment, when we're full in this moment, there is nothing else that needs to come in. And nothing else can come in. And fear cannot come in when we are full in this moment. When presence is filling us from head to toe, toe to head, when the presence of being in this moment. And if that fills us, there is nothing else to do. There is no need for some regurgitated prediction. There is no need to try and push away the fear and live in this nice, dare I say, fairyland of future. Full of this moment, there is nothing else that is needed. And so I just suggest that, as Hugh Cullenberg says, or Van Cullenberg, try 2 of those exercises. At the end of today, write down in your journal, in your gratitude journal, what are 3 things that you are grateful for? You admired, you appreciated, you liked, you laughed at, laughed with. What are 3 things that you liked? And as you go about your day, and maybe each hour, stop and just think, what did I notice in the last hour while I was walking along? There was a traffic light, there was a a big truck, there was a lines on the road, there was sunshine, or there was rain. What did you notice as you were being in each moment? What did you notice? Just try those two things each day. And as the Course in Miracles says, it's going to be easy, but it's difficult. So it's easy to notice three things right now, isn't it? Just look around. There's a door, and there's a mirror, and there's a window. Three things. Well, easy. Wherever you are. It's difficult to do it all the time, and that's when we fall into the need for predictions. Some sort of nice, soft, pretty pill. And then when we find the fear, fill yourself again with three more things you can notice around here, wherever you are. There's a tree. There's another tree. There's a little plant. There's a flower. There's a person. There's a hat. There's a foot. Just start noticing the little things and find three things to notice in each little thing that you're doing today. You might go shopping. That's one event. You might then go and talk to somebody else. That's another event. You might have a coffee. That's another event. You might drive from X to Y or A to B. That's another event. So each of those little events during the day, notice three things. Just notice them. Oh, there's a tree. There's a, I don't know. There's a snake. Oh, he's walking over my foot. There he goes. I've noticed a snake and a foot. Notice three things in each sort of sector of your day. And at the end of the day, write down three gratitude appreciations. Just try it. So I wish you present, and three gratitudes. And I wish you peace and all who sail in her.